Hey everybody, it's the Golden Sound Twice. So, very briefly, we're going to talk about biker mice from Mars. And as you know, I got into this show about like a month or two ago. I've really enjoyed it. And again, I just wish that we could have a reboot of this series. You know, keeping the original voice actors, keeping the original parts of the characters. One thing I was talking to somebody in the fandom, and one thing that they pointed out to me that I didn't realize that's what made me love the show so much, but now I know, I'm just like, yes. It's the fact that there's so many ad libs from the actors where they are ad libbing their lines, because it's like one of those, like, you know that a writer, like I'm a writer, and I know that I couldn't come up with something so on point and funny at my computer. That is literally like Rob Paulson probably was like looking at the line and made a comeback, and the writers were like, we're keeping it. So, you know, what they probably did was just put like Rob Paulson in the room with the others, since it was an American voice acted animated phenomenon, shenanigan Peter Bob. And they probably just all had them in the room, and they were just like, just go guys, just go for it, just do it. It made it fun. It makes it warm and heartfelt, and I love it. Like, one thing I absolutely remember is like when Charlie's birthday party was going on, and they were singing for her, which was super adorable, and she was just like, ow, I've lost hearing in my 1 year, and then Rob Paulson's just like, you get used to it. Like, you know, that's something that he just came out with on the fly, and he's like, oh, sorry, you know, let's redo that line, and they were like, no, we're keeping that line. That's what happens when you open your mouth, Rob Paulson. You're just such a god of perfection and voice acting and everything that's awesome, that your ad libs are like gold. Like when it happens, is everybody's just like, yes. So, but that made the show really fun. The 1990 show really fun, and I would just love to, like, if we could take that original, like the funness and the warmth, but also add a lot of angst to it, because that's just who I am as a person. Like the angst. Give me all the angst. But no, in all seriousness, there is a lot of dark themes that the show mildly addresses in the background, but we don't really explore it that much because A, it was a show from the 90s, so we already know how this writing's going to go. B, it was geared towards a younger audience, specifically a younger boy audience. But surprise, everybody! Women like it. We love it. Give us the strong female characters that we demand. Those of us who identify as female like it. Give it to me. Give me the strong female characters who don't need to be saved every episode. Let's form a conga line, guys. Get in on this. All right. But no, seriously, I will always say, let Charlie come in and save the guys. And yes, she does come in and save the guys. I mean, like, they are tied up, hanging over a pit of lava, or they are in outer space, and then, like, there is nothing that they can do. There is no way they can get out of the situation, and Charlie waltzes in like the badass she is, and just makes everything more awesome. Like, give it to me. It is so simple, so simple. Literally, I would give the writers my bank account number. I'd be like, here, just take it, take everything they have. Do you want my firstborn child? I'll toss the kid in there too. Let's just do this. Give me what I need. Give us what we need in this fandom. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Hair flip. So, but no, an interesting thing I thought was the political side. I've got hair in my eye. I apologize. All right. That's what happens when you have blonde bangs. Wow, these need to be trimmed. But they look so cool. So, but honestly, though, the Plutarkians I found immensely intriguing. And it's because, so they are kind of the scums of the universe. And again, I have not seen the 2000 series. I've only seen the 1990 series, which I need to get back to rewatching that, but a couple of other fandoms came up and snagged me away. So I had many affairs on all my fandoms. I'm sorry. I cheat on TV episodes all the time. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a problem. But what I found so interesting, so what we know, when they came and took over Mars, so they were already fighting, like they're fighting the civilians, they're fighting the army, but they've already bought out the government. And I just found that so interesting that they went and did all of these things, like killing off the best fighters while simultaneously going to the political government and the corrupt politicians and buying out the planet for them. So then that way there really can't be any coup, because not only have they bought the planet, but they also have killed all the fighters. But here's the really interesting thing. So the Plutarchs, as we know, they don't have enough resources on their planet, and they go from planet to planet stealing the resources. Well, so they're buying out these planets, but their dictator, we find out, has been misappropriating funds for years. So if I recall correctly, I think that they are either using, like, the war fighters are using their own money to fund this. But then here's what's really interesting to me. All right, so they get all of this, they get the resources and whatnot, and they ship it to Plutarch. But the one time we get to Plutarch, I'm bitter about that. Oh man, we could have had it all, guys. Anyway, this is why we need a reboot. Give the Golden Sound Twice her angsty, dark, but yet light and funny comedic reboot. I want my cake and I want to eat it too, while having a slice of pie on the side. Anyway, so, but they get to Plutarch, and it looks like a apocalyptic world. They have no resources, everything is destroyed, but the civilians are so brainwashed that they don't realize that this is so wrong. And it's like, they're like, yes, we're taking over all these other planets and we're getting all the resources, but the resources never goes to the civilians. It only goes to the politically corrupt government, which A, sounds very human, B, it's like, how are the civilians actually handling it? Are the civilians going to rise up against the political government? But at the same time, we know that the dictator has made people simply vanish who don't agree with him. So I would love to see a current new series focusing on these darker things that the 1990s shows originally implied, because there is a lot of terrible stuff going on there, and it's very glossed over. And again, it was geared towards a younger audience, but really there was a lot of terrible and corrupt governmental things that were being done in the show that would be fun to address in a newer, darker show, maybe geared for an older audience, or the same. I always find how we gear things towards kids so interesting, because on the one hand, you'll see a show and you're like, wow, this is funny and sappy, really, okay, cool. And then there's another one, and it's like, yeah, this is for kids, but it's like dark and depressing and deals with like all this stuff, and you're just like, how are they the same? They're rated for the same, but I'm so confused. But, so anywho, I think that would be a lovely thing to see. So that is my short little Biker Mice from Mars thoughts on the Plutarkians, and just like, again, how corrupt the system is, but how only the rich and the powerful benefit from it in their world, and really is like how it is with dictators, and how the people are brainwashed into believing that they're that either they shouldn't be benefiting, or that they believe that by their government benefiting, they somehow are benefiting, even though it's obvious that they're not. And I think it'd be really interesting to see that addressed, and maybe even have a coup d'etat rise up with the Plutarchian civilians against the dictator, and how other races who've been affected by the Plutarchians could benefit from helping not only free the imprisoned civilians, but also having their revenge and having justice done on the political figureheads who have done the terrible stuff that they've done in the universe. So that's my thoughts. And, if you have any thoughts or comments, please comment below. Comment below, let me know. And if you'd like to hear me do a review of my thoughts of our three lovely mice, Moto, Vinny, and Throttle, let me know. And I can also do a list of my top 10 favorite characters, and also talk about, the like Limburger and Carbuncle and some of the villains of the show, because I definitely have thoughts on them as well. So anywho, so it's the Golden Sound Twice out, and you all have a lovely evening. Bye!